this morning I've been cutting that huge run up there. That's where I got all my loss.
Kind of the same thing I did, but I was not as heavy, right? So
yeah.
Were you able to take any profits? Did you sell here and take any profits here? I'm going to change my color.
Honestly, when it reached that up here, I took a bunch of losses. I reset to zero around here.
Okay.
And then I switched to be a buyer until it broke below here. So then I said, okay, it's going to come down because that's a big range there. So I said, I'm going to write that down. And geez, just when I was doing some headway, it went up again. So
yeah, this is where I would have just expected to bounce right here.
Okay.
But here you're in, this is a sell limit order. Has it executed?
Those are pending sells.
Yeah.
So
pending.
They're take profits. So we could cancel them all. Right now, I have a take profit at 4 pips.
Got it.
In both directions. So
is there any? So when you're trading, since you're from, just curious, like when you're trading interactive brokers, do you have limitations as far as like first in, first out stuff, or no? Because you're from Canada.
No, there's no limitation. You do as you wish.
Okay, that's good to know. All right. Well, do you have a place that shows us where you're, like, how much what are we looking to do? I mean, obviously I don't think that coming back from a 3% down is going to be realistic, to do, right? Like, we're not going to be able to just, unless you get into a ride the wave situation, which maybe we can do that, but just start. Let's set a goal for what we want to accomplish. What in this account, what are you comfortable with when you take a loss? What do you usually take a loss on? Like, what can you recover from? So in my mind, I'm thinking you're reaching out right here because 3% is a little bit much for you to recover from.
Yeah. So if I'm down 1.5%, normally I can recover that quite good.
Okay. So
but, down that much, and especially late as it is.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, trying to take a chunk, trying to swing for 3% is to me, you'd have to get in really heavy and taking really high risk situations, which I don't want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'm very realistic about that. It's not, we're kind of too late to rescue such a loss right now. It's the only hope is probably just the right away, but I thought that maybe, I don't know, any kind of improvement is going to be better than nothing.
Sure. All right, so let's take a look here. I just want to make sure we're both on the same expectations.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, honestly, I'm just glad that you're here and I'm talking to someone knowledgeable about trading. It's, to me, that's it's already a win. So I thank you very much to take your time for that.
Sure. No, like I said, I mean, I'm not certain we're going to be able to do much of anything. And I'm probably going to, like, what we're going to do is our best bet is probably just to catch an opportunity to ride the wave, right? Yeah. And so if you're into sell limits right there, I can see that that's not the direction of the wave, right?
Absolutely.
However, I'm not liking it because if it does pop, I don't know if I'd like that position of where they're at, but if it does pop up a little higher, so what I would be looking at doing right now is waiting for a pullback down to here, somewhere in here, right? So if it
Yeah,
breaks,
I changed the just to have I moved out. This is a 4-hour chart and a 1-hour chart, just
got
to
it.
move out and evaluate the right of wave possibility. So the top is the top line for the breakout for the right of wave is kind of here. I would like to know your opinion about when is the right time to get in on the right of wave mode, because
So I would build
still
in,
have this top here and this one there.
right. So I'd look for a price cycle down. I don't think I would sell into this. Can we maybe show me the 1 minute? Because that's where I get in my entries and my exits.
So just to explain to you, I already have some setups
okay.
Built in. So 5 minute here is the 5 minute and the 1 minute. Here is the 15 and the 5 and so on. So
got it. Because we might have missed an opportunity.
Okay.
Right here, because it kind of broke out. If it stays above this, then we missed the opportunity to ride, which I'm thinking it might, right? Okay. So because we're coming up against an action point on the 5s, can you zoom the 5 out just a little bit?
So that's the difficulty with interactive brokers. There's no easy zoom. There was in the past, and I don't know they removed it or.
All right, let's go and buy into this move right here. What's your spread?
The spread is very low with the.
Are you into sells right now?
I'm in buys.
No, so it didn't execute that limit order.
Yeah, it did here. This here. You see that little blip there?
Okay, so I'm thinking it needed to touch this line to get in to your
this automatic take profit. I could switch it off.
Got it.
Do you want to
need to be able to? I'm just trying to
switch off the take profits.
Yeah, I might as well. If you're in, then why isn't it showing your orders?
Well, it's not the same as LVO. So here is your break-even line, and if we keep buying, the break-even is going to come down. This is the zone.
No, I'm talking about down into this area. Where does it show your actually active orders that are on?
It's been executed. It's a market order.
Right.
So
where am I seeing trades?
The trades are here.
Okay, so it's not orders; it's trades. Got it.
That's trades. Right.
Got it. I'm just not 100% familiar with interactive brokers, the way their layout is and everything.
Yeah, it's not like LVO or what you do on MT4. You don't see your trades, but you see your break-even line.
So let's go to our trades, because I want to make sure we're managing any open trades that we have. I want to see if we have trades on. Did you get into buys down here?
We have one position, one trade. So it's 0.6 lot.
Okay.
We took one. So normally I took 3 for a layer.
Right. Now looks like we're into, it could be a ride the wave here. So
okay.
I would have gotten into a little bit more down here.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm just like, can you show me the trades? I'm flying blind here. So it's really difficult. I need to see your profit situation, like which ones are most profitable.
So
okay.
From this red
area
zone there, we're making money there.
On top of it, anything above this, you're making money, right?
Anything above this
the hard line,
that gradient there, where the gradient starts with the red shade starts. This is making money.
So what confuses me, we can't see. So how do you close a trade?
Well, you just close position here, or you sell. Here we see that we're long 60K.
Okay.
So I know it's just one trade. because that's my size, position size.
Okay. Sorry, I'm still trying to get acclimated. So maybe what I'll do here, since you know and you know everything, is I'll just probably tell you when to buy and when to get out. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I can't really, there's no really X button to hit, right?
Right.
So basically,
so when we want to get out, if we want to lighten up, we just sell one at a time, or we close the whole position and we want to get out.
So if you're selling, does it take and flip into a sell order, or do you know what I mean? Kind of like flip your trade.
It will just reduce the overall position by 60K. So if we were to sell right now, we would be zero, would be out.
Why 60K? Is that a set that you're setting?
Yeah, it's my size, position size.
It's like a 0.6.
0.6, right?
Got it. All right. But I just, like I said, Interactive Brokers is not something that I'm super familiar with, just how they do it, but it makes sense. I mean, everything's the same, just where you find it, right?
Yeah, it's more or less like you're trading stocks from any broker. That's
right. Okay, so we're up against a action point on the 1 minute and on the 5 minute. So, because I can see that. I don't think you can see that.
The action point, are you talking about is the top of that wick, or?
Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if it's going to break that on the first attempt. Okay. So you could close that out and look for it to come back down into here. Okay. And then we could start building into another buy layer, but we've also got this, price cycle here. It came down, went up quite a bit. I would look for it to come back down. So you can start building into a layer probably here, start building into some buys right here. I'd still keep it kind of light. And then if it does cross this, you could go a little bit more. The only reason why I'm thinking is because it's hit an action point at the top. This could be an area where it's just going to continue to drop. So we want to be cognizant of that, or it could break to the top and keep going. Right. But either way, that was probably the best place to get out of that trade. I would have liked to have gotten more on right here off of this candle, because you see how this candle just smacks down. To me, that's another abnormal candle. And we've already had that in today. Like when you see, I don't know if you can go back, but you can kind of see how small, and then larger. I wouldn't call these definitely, but this one right here and this red one are two abnormal candles, right? Yeah. In the market. And
so you would look for the 50% retracement every time.
Every time, yeah. Particularly, the only exception to that is if you're in a ride the wave situation.
Okay,
that makes sense. But
getting ready to buy now?
Yeah, I'd start maybe because you're at 50%. You just hit the 50% of that, right? So I'd only put I wouldn't necessarily go in a full layer here, just because it did hit the top of a bounce point. And so for it to come down, it's about a 50% right here. So we're kind of hey, it could turn and reverse and go back up, or it could give us some continuation off the bounce and come down into here. Right. So because of that, I still want to take some opportunity to get into. So just out of curiosity, why did that candle not? So I'm assuming, obviously when a candle goes up, it's white. When it goes down, it's red. But it doesn't change like in the other ones where it took a minute for it to go white, took a minute for it to go red.
Yeah, sometimes it's weird. I think it's a bug in the app. But it's always done that. Sometimes it's kind of indecisive when it turns from up to down or whatever.
Because in Alveo it would be turn.
Yeah, LVO, it's instantaneous.
It's
There's
instantaneous.
never any mistake there.
Got it.
But this software there, sometimes it's.
Do you have to trade in this, or just curious, or does Interactive Brokers allow you to trade?
That's a very good broker. So,
No, it's a good broker for sure. No, they're very, very good. I'm just wondering if they let you trade other platforms with the same, or does it have to be this platform?
Some other outfits they use the Interactive Broker API, and they build on that.
Push it into that. Got it.
But I used one, and there's a lag time, So
yeah, that's even worse.
I've used TradingView, which is kind of great for technical analysis and setting up, a nice environment. But the delay of execution was just too high for quick trading. So
sure. Well, this is what we're looking for. If it holds this, if it holds that, I'd probably look to build into this position if it holds. But if it doesn't hold, it's going to come and test the bottom. If it comes down and tests the bottom here, you could buy off the bottom, put another buy in, because I think for your account size, this is pretty light, right?
It's it makes sense with your calculation of half, taking half of your margin and splitting in 5 layers.
So this
it kind of fits your arithmetic there, what I'm using right now.
Sure. Okay. So then go ahead and throw a trade on right there, a buy, and then we'll look to see if it did it execute?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, I just can't.
And if you noticed, it's kind of small. I understand that, but when I bought, and here are the trades. The last trade was 0.341. So we bought about here.
It just doesn't show that in the.
We should see. It's because it's dark, but you see the. I could switch to something else. Just give me a sec.
Well, I mean, whatever you're comfortable, that's okay. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, me, I'm very comfortable, but I would like you to be comfortable too. So you see those triangles?
Yep.
That's where we bought.
And the reds are sold, right?
Yeah. So at one point, probably those triangles are going to be taking too much space. So you just tell me when you want me to put them off.
Got it.
Turn them off.
Yeah.
You didn't notice that I'm a French speaker, right?
Well, I do now. I can tell and obviously you're from Quebec, so. Is everybody in Quebec speaks French? I mean, and English, right? Is it more? Does everybody speak English primarily, like their dual language? Or is it French? Is it predominantly French? I've never been there, but everybody I've spoken to does speak English. So I just thought it was like a common thing where you'd speak both, like they teach you in school or whatever, right?
Right. It's mostly French. The farther you go from Montreal is like the metropolitan area. It's the center of activity, main center of activity of the province.
Sure.
So there you have a greater concentration of English-speaking people.
Okay.
But the further you go outward from Montreal, then you get into more French zones. When people have a second language, they're gonna learn English, and in school, all the kids they learn English starting from pretty young, which is great. I think we absolutely need to be able to speak English here in Quebec. This is a must.
Yeah, I could see that when the rest of Canada is English, right? So for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And pretty much everything when you work, when you have to deal with with the outside world.
Yeah, it comes
outside
down to,
of Quebec, you have to speak English. So.
if it comes down to here, we're going to buy again. But then, depending on the action, we could, if it does cross this, I'm just going to change that to my lines. So here's where we'll want to buy again if it comes down and touches this action point, but only one. If it does close below this line with a body, then I'd look for it to come down, pop back up, and if it fails to cross this right here, we may want to look into some cells for a ride down to test this. I don't know if that's, I'm just saying this is like plan B. So
Okay.
this is plan B. So I'm probably draw it with a, so plan A is to kind of buy right here off of this price cycle down to see if we can't get a price cycle move. Now, in order for it, what's this white line represent? Anything?
Right now, I think it was on a longer time frame. It was probably the top of
that
of a big candle, I guess.
Got it. Okay.
You see, it's the top here of a 15-minute body.
Sure.
I can remove it.
So the thing I'm looking at is like, because we're at the top, right? You got a risk reward thing going on right now. Your risk is that it could bounce off the top and this could turn into where it just is going to continue to go down, right?
Yep.
Reward is if it does break the top, it could get into a ride the wave situation. That's why I'm kind of keeping you a little bit light right here, because if we have to fix these trades, we're going to have to do it if it breaks this line and get into some cells. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So the other thing that I would look at doing is if it does come up here and give you a little bit of money and it stalls right here. So if it stalls, let me clear my drawings. If it stalls right here, I would probably peel off of these trades and look to reposition them down into here, unless we get a body that closes. The other thing too, as well, looking for this action. We did get a break on the candle. Got to come in and measure this. So just seeing how much that candle is. And so that's a 4 pip candle right there. It's a pretty good sized candle. All right. If we get the hold above this, that's a good sign. But again, if this holds, do you have a candle timer on here or no?
No, but you have the time here.
Okay, got it. It's
at the top.
Right. Still represents the candle for sure. Okay, so 20 seconds left on this candle. We want it to hold. Needs
30
to hold.
seconds.
Yep. Oh, it's counting up.
Yep.
Yeah. Of course it's counting up. Like everything I look at is counting down though. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So all right, so that's a good sign right there, especially with 10 seconds left. I mean, it still could come all the way back down, but this is a good sign. Did we buy off of it? We did, right? No, we bought here.
We bought there.
Yeah, but we didn't buy
not at the bottom.
Got it. All right. So do you trade Alveo too as well?
Yeah, I do.
Are you in a funded account there or still trying to get into one, or what's the situation there?
Yes, I'm in a funded account.
And so how's that going?
I have some catch up to do there also.
Right.
Not this morning. I'm down 0.21%. I was very light this morning. I got caught up with my own account.
Yeah. All right. So we do need it to pop above that. And it's kind of, so as soon as it crosses this, we're broke even. Is that correct?
Yeah, we are. We're in the money right now.
Now we're in the money. So
Yep.
again, this is your action point right here. So this is your action point that you're looking for. And if it stalls, it's up to you, your call, but if it stalls here, you could recycle your trades. It really just depends on the action of these candles. You see how it's kind of it's struggling to wicks are starting to come in to push it lower, right?
Yeah.
And so,
so the stall, David, we haven't touched the white line, so it's not technically a stall right now. Huh?
Well, you don't necessarily have to touch it either, right? But you're just starting to feel like the pressure's coming in, right? And so into the market, like it kind of knew that candle was going to happen. So if that candle holds, for me, it just depends on what this candle does.
There's still 40 seconds to go.
Mm-hmm. Like, is this just a reach down candle or is this a reversal candle, right? So it really depends on what this candle does right here. And it's kind of a larger candle. So in my mind, if it comes down here, I'd buy off of that candle right there. Just because it is a larger candle, and I'd look to maybe pill off. Right. Can you pill off individual trades here, or is it
you lighten up? You cannot close individual trades.
Okay.
So we're at 240 right now, so I could just sell and reduce the size or lighten up.
Got it. Okay.
It does the same.
Does it put a sell order on? And so if you've got into a sell, it just reduces your position, but doesn't necessarily, you're not taking profit. You're not hedging, is what I'm saying.
You're not hedging.
Okay. Got it.
Take a buy here.
Let's wait on this candle because it's early.
Okay.
And if it does reach down to here, go ahead and buy. Yeah, go ahead and put a buy on right there. All right, so now what we're going to do is the probability has come to, we're not going to necessarily, I don't think we're going to get up into this range, right?
Yeah. Anytime
soon.
Yeah.
Like it could, but we're going to trade probabilities here. So because it's not anytime soon, and it's dropped down, we're still going to play buys because we haven't created a lower low yet.
The 5 minute looks strong also.
It does look strong. Yeah. So anytime you got a strong down, usually it's followed by a push higher, right?
Right.
A push back. So I'm kind of building into that, but also being very cautious because it's not my money. All right. So I would go ahead and start buying and then wait until we get a confirmation of the reversal. But I would probably put another buy here if it does come down like an early candle. So if it's an early candle situation, I'd probably put one there. If we get this to hold above this and get us to reverse, I'd probably start looking to probably get out right here. And so unfortunately, that's not a profit situation there. So the only time
close break even.
Yeah, well, that would probably put you right here, but this is going to be the better place to do that depending on the action, right? If it stalls here, then yes, because it could come back down, and then that's where we would want to probably get into some sells right here.
What do you think about that last candle on the 5 minute there? Is it unusual size?
Not necessarily over here on this chart. It is a larger candle, but I wouldn't say it's an abnormal candle because you need it to be 2 to 3 times. And I would say that it's kind of not exactly twice as big as this one or this one or this one.
Yeah.
My dog's, he's so brave when he's on this side of the glass when the deer are in the backyard.
That's your dog?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we don't have a fence, and the deer are always in my backyard. And oh, there's a buck. There's that big buck.
Have you been able to fix your trailer after the damage?
No, so it's just one thing after another with getting the right part. So they're like, hey, you need to go take measurements. Did that. Oh, you need to get us the model number. I'm like, looking, where's the model number? Oh, you got to pull the window out to get the model number. I'm like, how do I pull the window out? It's kind of just, so I have to call them when we're done here. It's kind of next steps. It's like, you know what? Why don't you just do it? All right. So because it failed to break this and give us that reversal, this is what we're looking for, is a reversal. That because it did that, we're probably is going to come down and test this.
Okay.
Depending on this candle. If it fails to cross that one more time, oh yeah, you can't do that. Never mind.
We can put some cells.
Yeah, you can't. Right. You can't.
We can reduce. Reduce the size.
We can reduce, but
like how many cells you would like to put?
But doesn't make, you're not making money on the cells. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. It's just you're reducing your size, so you're not losing money, right?
You're losing less. It
less.
does the same, but visually,
it's not.
It's different. So
yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, it's the same. I'm just trying to,
like in LVO when we buy, and after that we click the X, it's like a cell.
Yep, got it. So I'm really wanting it to cross this line right here, and hold that, right? Hold that cross. And so this was a good wick action right here for us to get this cross. Now, because it just came down and shot down, 13 pips, I don't think it's going to go up 13 pips, but we could get a price cycle back at least 4 or 5, which puts us right here, right?
Yeah.
Again, not certain we are out of a buying. So my gut says that we should hold this dependent on the action and see if it does in fact want to cross. If not, right here's our action. We could probably sell. Yeah, go ahead and sell.
I took one.
Yeah, and then get out of that sell. If it fails to or comes down to here, I need to stop thinking in my head trying to figure out interactive brokers. I'm just going to tell you what to do and you do it. Okay. So I'm looking for a sell for a take profit here. If we get this to cross on the buy, I'd still be looking into getting into sells up to here for the price cycle to turn down. Does that make sense? Yeah. So look to get out of your buys.
And wait for a price cycle down.
Yeah, exactly.
To get back on the buy side.
Correct. To reposition these buys down into here, right? So this is where it's struggling. So this is a good action point. You could close out of some of your buys right now and start looking to sell in all the way to the top. That's probably what I would do.
Okay.
hold on just 1 second, just because we did get a break above that. So it's kind of hard for me to know which buys you have on, like, because you're not, I don't know if you're writing this buy or this buy. Do you know what I mean?
We're writing
all of them.
We're writing them all, but these, let's say that these two we sold, so we're only having those 4 right now.
Okay. Do you have a preference, like personally? Do you like this type of trading, or do you like the Alveo style trading?
I like both. This one is kind of simpler because all you have to concentrate on is your managing your cost here.
Okay.
So you buy and sell to help lower, let's say in this case, that would be to lower our cost as low as we can. So then we have the price cycle up. After that, we're in the money big time.
Got it.
In LVO, I think that you need to be.
So we're still, so in my mind, if it does shoot higher, we're still good because we have 240 on.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really, so we just reduced our position size. We didn't take sells. So these are not losing. We're just not gaining as much as we would have if we did not put those on. Okay.
Exactly.
We're still in the money right now, right? And if it breaks above this, then that's still good. Where in Alveo, if we put sells on, we'd be looking to get out of them. Right? Because they're hurting our position. These aren't necessarily hurting our position. They're just, we just lightened our position size.
Exactly.
Okay.
In LVO, you need to be much more
managing
on point and managing your position. You cannot leave anything open. With this, I think it's kind of easier. It's not contract based. It's just an amount of money that you hold or not.
Got it.
But in the end, both are doing the same.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. It's just how it does take a minute to just change it in your head.
Right. Especially when you're used to trading just one way.
I may take these right now. Just go ahead and close out of everything.
Okay.
And the reason why I did that is because I could see it coming back down and testing that right here. And so this is where I might look to get into some more buys right here. And so I was taking that at kind of like a max profit situation.
Yeah, that was a pretty long stretch also here.
Right, exactly. So, and I'd rather just put it in the bank. So as it comes and pops down, go ahead and trying to build a position for a test at the top. Now this test at the top, we're going to maybe hold it a little bit more if we can get some buys on here. Okay. And we're going to hold this just to see if we actually get a break out and ride the wave. So did you put any on? I don't think you have any on.
No, I haven't got the time to put one there.
It was a little quick. No, you cannot go out there right now. There's deer out there that will try to kill you.
They're dangerous deers that you have.
They are not afraid. They're not afraid. Some of them aren't even afraid of me. I've stared down a few. Like, what are you going to do? Some slowly. Okay.
You'll need to get yourself a couple 30-08 rifles.
Yeah. Although if
30-06, sorry.
So when we moved into this house 5 years ago, then the neighbors come around. So I'd go ahead and put a buy on right here. Oh, so that you can capitalize on a ride the wave situation. So if it does pop down, do it again.
Bad fielder.
Just so that we can make sure that we capitalize if it does pop higher, right?
Yeah.
So about 5 years ago, we moved in. First, neighbors come around and meet you, bring you food or whatever. Hey, we're new neighbors. And first thing, everybody's like, do you like deer? I'm like, sure. I'm like, I guess they're like neighborhood deer. So if I ever killed a deer, I would be that neighbor. And I don't want to be that neighbor. You get blackballed from the neighbors.
Yeah.
But I probably would if it was attacking somebody or even my dog, right? So
Sure.
as a protection. These deer are not, especially this time of year when they're trying to get as much food as they can. They're not shy. They're not shy at all.
They eat grass. They should not.
Well, I
try
have
to.
apples in my yard, so they come in
Okay.
and
Oh yeah.
they love my apples.
It's a magnet.
It's a magnet,
Yeah.
for sure. All right, so we're gonna see if we can't pump this up a little. We're gonna see if we can't get into a ride the wave situation. But again, if it drops down early in a candle, we might want to put another buy on. Get into those.
Yeah, that'd be great to be able to load up a little bit, because that seems to be looking to push up pretty good.
Yeah, but it could also bounce here. So I don't want to be buying. I mean, obviously you see this, price cycle, right? We're due for a little bit of pullback. So I'd imagine is it would come up here, test, which it did, give us a little bit of a pullback down into this area. And would be my perfect position to kind of buy into that for a second test of that high, as opposed to buying in up in these ranges. That makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
So I only put the one on, or I only said put this one on just in case it does ignore everything and bounce up.
Mm-hmm.
We can capitalize on it. But like I said, if it comes down and it holds, this candle holds this right here, then this is where we'll get our price cycle down. And okay, unless this candle says, nope, I'm not holding. So again, if it comes down into this range, we'll start to buy in. But we'll see. This price cycle, the previous was 13. This one moved up 20. I don't anticipate it to move down 10 or 20, but definitely could see maybe 10. Could go 10. But again, this is where I'd want to buy here in this range. So buying.
We'll get ready for that.
This would be the premium area. So how long have you been trading this live account for?
I've been trading for a very long time.
No, this interactive broker account. This particular
since,
account.
2013, I would say.
How have you been doing on it overall?
I could do better. Let's put it this way. That's the reason why I'm with you guys. And
so go ahead and buy off of this candle because it's kind of a drop down candle. What do you think is your nemesis or weakness or something that you like? I need to get better at. Do you know what I mean? Like, have you identified some of the things that maybe you could use help with? Things like that.
I take too long to switch sides. So okay. I'm holding to a bunch of losses for way too long, and I'm getting killed by marching markets.
Okay,
that's my nemesis.
So, do you have a thought as to why you're doing that? If you were analyzing like why you're doing that, is it because you don't want to take a loss, or is it because everything you've been taught says that it should turn and then it doesn't? Does that make sense?
Well, that's pretty much that. After a long run, it should turn, but if it's not, that's where you're guessing. What should I do? Do I take the loss or I stay there.
So there's two different things. So off of that, again, just kind of just slowly buy at each action point. So I know we're not going to really get in heavy, but this is where I'm thinking this is where I was thinking it could turn anywhere in here, right? If we're going to get another test of the high, right? But again, we kind of gotten this low. If it gives us a low here and then it turns and gives us another low, like right here, that's a good indicator of maybe shifting into no more buys. And if we're starting to get lower highs, does that make sense? But going back to what your question, the question is like, if you feel like you are holding on to your trades longer because of your technique that you have, or your strategy says that everything should turn, like I have a hard time jumping onto a move like this move right here, right? I have a hard time buying into this move right here or here or here because I know it's going to turn, right? And so I don't end up buying, I end up selling right here, or I sell here, or I sell here. And then what gets me into trouble is the continuation of the market. But my technique or my strategy says you should not buy, you should sell, right? And then, but the thing is that I always know where I should stop that. Now, like on Friday, if you get into a 50 pip run, which I did, that just kills me. Like I got into a 50 pip run and it didn't go the other direction. However, you shouldn't change the way you trade, because you should recognize that those 50 pip runs don't happen very often. It's the problem when people start looking at this, oh, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up, I'm going to start buying here, and then it goes down. That's when people get in trouble. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's why I'm kind of going back and asking you the question of where it breaks down. Are you predicting the market, or are you chasing the market? And if you're chasing the market, that could end up ultimately getting yourself into a bad situation, right? And so that's why I'm just wondering where it is that your trade tends to start breaking down. Like maybe since we have a little bit of time, I'm going to let my dog out here in a second because I think the deer are gone and he wants to go outside. But walk me through how you looked at the market this morning, and let's identify how you got into a loss with the market this morning, and maybe I can point out some things that maybe you've missed in your analysis. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let me dog out really quick while you're setting that up.
All right.
Okay, there we go.
Recharge battery.
All right, before we jump into that though, put a buy on real quick. Let's put another buy on. And also remind me what's a typical layer amount for you? Is it 240? Is it 300?
It's 180.
180. Okay, so we're in
three trades of 60.
Okay, so we're in about 1.5 layers, right now.
Yeah, 4 trades right now.
So what do you feel comfortable with? How many layers are you okay with going into?
Well, I calculated with 5 layers, but I'm comfortable with 3.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
4 and 5 layers, I'm not too comfortable.
Okay.
I'm gonna look to stop fighting
start looking at lightening your position, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Okay. So if we do get a break to the top, I would like preferably to be in 2 layers, right? If we get another test. However, we're not going to get into 2 layers just because of that. Because like I said, you have to also identify the fact that, hey, you know what? It didn't test, didn't break through. We got a lower low. So it could come up and stall right here. And if it stalls right there, that's where you should get out, because then it could turn and go lower and start creating a lower low. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
And not break above. So we shouldn't 100% hands down be trading for a break higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be stuck to that. And we should always be, okay, if it's not going to, and I'm not saying even if it does stall here and give us another lower low, we could get into, it could still break above that, right? But the right play is to get out, is to X out with profit here. That's the correct play, right? Even if it stalls and stops and then all of a sudden, boom, you get that breakout, the right play is to get out because it's forming the lower lows. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So if it holds this, that's a good sign. If that candle holds, and you're still kind of early in that candle. So let's see if it holds above that right there. So walk me through maybe this morning's analysis.
So this morning we had this continuous downtrend.
Mm-hmm.
Charge battery.
And I looked at long term, on the daily and the 4-hour chart, and
Sure.
I knew that we had a long run up, and the market was taking a breather. So I expected that I would be able to make some money on the down leg. I was ready to take some layers up here.
Mm-hmm.
And ready to trade inside that zone. But here it shot up very fast, and so I took trades up here, and I told myself that if it was to close up in that range up here, I would just not fight it because it was too strong of a trend. So I would look to lighten up and switch to buying. So that's what I did, but in that run up there, there's been that's where the big loss incurred, because I took a layer here, I took another layer there, so I was kind of 2 layers at the bottom of the whole thing. Was
well,
kind
then
of heavy.
that just barely happened though, right? I mean, right before you contacted me, because this move is on the 5-minute.
Oh, that was 7. See here, it was 7:30 a.m. Eastern, so 5:30 your time.
Oh, okay. So what?
So you're.
How do I know? How do I know what this chart? What time frame are you looking at?
You see the hour here. It's Eastern time.
No, these candles are what?
You see here, it's 5-minute bars.
Okay, got it.
It's small, but it's within there. 1 minute here, 5 minutes there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then basically, when you started trading with me, this is Eastern time right here.
Yeah. So you started here at 9.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Okay. So you got caught in this move higher.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there's 2 things that I would have done with this move higher right here. And I still could possibly see it happen. So if it fails to close right here, it could come down and test this.
Just a second. I'm going to the chart. Chart was zoomed left. See?
Recharge battery.
Got it.
So now we're this is the active bar.
Got it. But this move right here is what got you, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing I would have looked at is off this move. So if we didn't have any of this information right here, because it's coming down into here, let's go ahead and put another buy on right there. And because it kind of came down with a good little shot, like I said, we're looking like we're getting into those lower low situations, particularly on the 5-minute chart. Comes up here, tests lower low, lower low. It could give us a test of this low right here. And if it gives us a test of that low, it could run down and test this right here. So those are the things that we want to kind of be cognizant in this trading right now. So because on the 1-minute chart, it shot down, I would look for a pullback of up to here. So I would probably, I'd probably go into another, let's go ahead and buy it again to pull this down. The thing I'm looking at is I don't know if it's got enough mojo to cross this. And so what I'd like is if we were in the money on a stall right there.
We seem to be entering some kind of triangle formation, especially at that time when we have reduced volatility.
So kind of looking for see if we get the hold above this on this candle. We got 8 seconds left. Just hold that. If we get that hold, our action point is here. Okay, so what I was going to say here, because it shot up like this, right, on the 5-minute candle, I would have looked for a selling opportunity of 50% off of this, right, which would have put you right about right there. And I don't know if I would have gotten in until it gave me that confirmation. If I'm trading the 5, which probably would have been really right here. And so you could have gotten that off of that, right? But I also probably would have put some sells off at the top of that because that's just what I typically do. But off this move, I would have looked for a 50% retracement. Once it hit that and it crossed this, then I would look for it to test the high right there. Right this second, I don't really have you don't have enough data to be like, okay, is it going to come down and test this, or is it going to come up here and test this? It's the candle that is forming right now that's truly going to tell us that. So if this candle closes above this red candle, then it's going to come and test that top again, which is what we want, right? Over here on the 1 minute, that represents this right here, right? So because it came to see how this action point, I was saying, I don't know if it's going to do that and cross that, but guess what? It didn't stall. It just went right past that action point. Now it's stalling right here. So because it's stalling, it's your call whether or not you want to say, I'm going to pull out for the run down, or if it breaks above this, you could get a run higher, right? And so this candle right this second has all of your risk reward on it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense for this trade setup? So because it's moving like that, that's a really good sign, but it could shrink all the way and come back this way. So we're really early in that candle. And so I don't trust it. If we were later on the candle, I would trust it, right? But I'm not saying we close out. I'm just saying I don't trust that it's going, it reached for that and it stopped. So this is your call whether or not you would want to take what you got or hold it for a ride higher. So for me, I always like putting money in the bank, never a bad thing. But if you're in a situation where you need to ride the wave, it's a risk. I'm just kind of explaining what your risk reward situation is. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you could risk having to waiting another opportunity for it. Okay, so now we did close higher. So now you could start putting a buy right here in case it does move higher. But also if it does close below this, I don't know if I'd go heavy here. I'd just do exactly what you did, because it's not giving you any like solid signals that it's going to go in any direction, particularly because we're at the end of this price cycle. So you could see it come down and test this right here. And this is where I look to start buying in. But if it crosses this, guess what it's doing? Lower lows. And this is right on that lower low.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's the triangle it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could sell here for a run down to the bottom. And I might have just done that personally, but you can't.
Okay, you would have closed and sold instead.
Well, I would have sold only because we're at the end of a price cycle.
Okay.
And then I probably would have gotten out right there. Now let's go ahead and buy off of that. Just because you're at the end of the price cycle, right? Now, I don't know if it's going to hold, but again, this is a lower low, this is a lower low, this is a lower low. And if it's going to come down and test this, it could cross this with the price cycle move down, right?
Yeah.
However, we're still kind of playing that risk reward. And if it truly fails to cross this, or if it not fails, but if it does cross this line, kind of a line in the sand real quick, if it crosses this line right here, then I don't think we're going to be looking for a ride the wave situation. It's just going to keep coming down and going to here. So again, I reserve the right to be wrong.
Always a good thing.
But does this help at all? Does this help you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, David. It's what you're doing right now is awesome. You know?
And so we're looking to see if it's going to actually close above that. That's a good sign for it to break higher if it does close above that. But I just don't know if it just has enough. It just has enough, right? So trend is definitely still in the buy favor. Our price cycles on the 5 are still pretty large, but it has to cross that. And in order for it to cross that, if it fails, yeah. This is kind of what I'm thinking, that we're going to get a turn and it's going to come down and test this. So if it pops up, I might just switch my personal bias here. So if it pops up into profit and gives you a solid pop, meaning that if it pops up to here, I might take it and stalls. But if it pops up, I'll hold on to it and crosses this. That makes sense?
Okay.
I hate when Zoom does that. Now, particularly if it pops up and stalls, I definitely get out and flip into some sells. Just because it's
okay. So we're looking to exit from that position right now.
Yeah, if it pops up to that.
Okay.
Just because we're definitely got confirmation that we're price cycling back down. Yeah, again, depends. Like if you get a big candle that just shoots up, we're not going to get out right there. But if it comes up and stalls, so it comes up, tests the bottom, says, nope, I'm not going to cross. but I'm going to come up and I'm not going to cross this. So this is what I anticipate. Like it's not going across this and it's going to come back and retest this. And if it retests that and stalls, that's when you would get back into and you flip into cells. Right?
Yes.
We're early on that candle. Just looking for just a little bit of a pullback here. All right, it's failing to, well, there we go. There's our test. I'd probably take it personally, just because it was right there and it did. So now I look to get into a sell all the way down to this point right here. Kind of these are your action points right here.
Okay, so when do you want to enter the sell?
Go ahead. And then if it pops up and stalls again right there. Now you can remove these candles. I don't need them anymore.
Okay.
So I kind of understand how to do this now. All right, so if it pops up right here, we're going to go ahead and sell. So go ahead and sell again.
Yeah, I took one.
Recharge battery.
Is that your computer? Something says recharge battery?
Yeah, it's my headset. It's about to die, so
Got it.
sorry.
So go
I
ahead and
didn't
put
know
it.
that you listen to that.
Put another cell right there. So now we're looking for it to not hold. I'd sell again right here because I don't think it has enough to cross that. In fact, I'm going to do that on mine. Sell my can right here. So in here, in this, does it tell you, are you more concerned about commissions or are you more concerned about spread?
Commissions. It's
Commissions.
$2 per trade. It's much costlier than all view is like cost nothing, but this is very pricey.
But do you not have a spread?
The spread is there, but it's same as Alvio or better.
And you have commissions. Oh.
Yeah, you have commissions.
All right. If it fails to break and you're in profit, oh, you're not in profit. Should have been in profit. I was in profit.
We touched it. We were for a second.
Oh no, I was in good profit. Like I just made like $50 off of that move right there. That's weird. All right. Again, they're still kind of in play where we're looking for these lower lows, and right here is where it would turn to continue that pattern. If it breaks higher, it does. What's that?
You see the spread right now here. So you have the bid and the ask.
Yeah, where's like, that? I don't see it.
0.2 or 0.3.
Can you? I don't see that. Where am I looking on here?
Look here, bid and ask in that window here.
Oh, got it.
So you have to do the mental calculation, but it's pretty easy. So it's very narrow.
Yeah, because I was like, if they charge you commission, you should get better spreads. because that's kind of what I've seen. Like if you don't have commissions, they get larger spreads, and they kind of, the game's played that way. Well, we won't charge you any commissions, but we'll get it on our spreads. We won't charge you any spreads, but we'll get it on commissions, right?
Yeah, they have to make money somewhere.
Somewhere, exactly. Just how
Dave, I'll just store my headset, so I'll fix the sound after.
Can you hear me though, or can you hear me? That's the question.
You still hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't think you can hear me.
David?
Yep. Do this chat.
You still there? Do you hear me, David?
Yep, I can hear you.
Good.
Can you hear me?
I had to
change your mic or
put
change
my
your
headset
speaker.
on the charger.
Yeah, you're fine.
Sometimes the microphone is picking up the fan of the laptop. So if it does, and you hear like a tractor, tell me.
That's fine.
I'm gonna mute myself.
All right, so this is what, if we're going to get a turn, that's going to happen here, right? So what I don't want it to do is finally cross this, because that's what we've been kind of playing all day. And then it gave us the information that, hey, it's probably not going to, it's probably going to run down to here. And then it changed its information on us the moment that it crossed here with the body. So the information now has been changed, but we're also getting really, really, really tiny candles. And that's just due to the time of day, right? Hold on one second. I'm going to let my dog in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we made much of a dent, if anything, but just hasn't been giving us any strong, clear anything. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, we're stuck in that triangle there.
Mm-hmm.
If I use my Elliott wave training, that's an A, B, C, D.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have a final E wave there before it shut up.
Before it shots up, yeah.
If it is a triangle, which you never know.
Yeah, that's where hindsight is always good. Yeah. Oh yeah, see, there it is.
Of course. See, it works. I told you.
All right. So because of this is our action points now, right? Our action points are right here. Kind of right in this area.
Okay.
And so our candles are definitely shrinking, which is not making it fun to trade. So because they're shrinking, I think we might be just kind of done trading, because I don't want to sit here for another hour and stare at this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So for me, the risk reward is not good. So you might have to sit on your hands forever. Mm-hmm. But if you wanted to like put a trade on and ride it, you could, we're just at the top of a range where it should, if it's going to break in any direction and run, it's going to be to the high side, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if it will. So
I do have a good feeling for the run up, but
when is the question? When you don't know. So anytime in here, I might just say I'm done trading and call it and just take the profits. because I don't think it has enough momentum to hit that, but this is also an action point here. So if it stalls, I may just take the profit on the sells there. For me, I probably would have got in, kept selling into this move for it to be a bigger move, because those price cycles and candles are small. So I probably would have gotten a little heavier here, all the way up to there, just because the moves are just small, right? Not that big. But that's me, and I didn't want you to do that. That's kind of the awesomeness of learning how to fix your trades, is because then if you do go heavy in a trade, you know how to fix it if you're on the wrong side of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so obviously that's cool. That's a good move right there. Did we do anything? We do any kind of a dent to your situation?
Yeah, it's we made about 500 Canadian.
So I see you were when you started, you were at 3. Like we did as good as we could have under the conditions of the market. The only thing that you could have done better at is if we would have, we missed a couple, like stacking into here. I think we also didn't stack into down here on the buys. There's a couple opportunities where we could have stacked in a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
Or not heavier, I don't want to use that word. Well, we could put another layer on and we didn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. We took only one trade there where we could have put 3.
Right. But, and just being 100% transparent with you, I did not want to risk I kept my risk reward really light in this, because you were already down. Right. And so it was like fixing stuff. And B, I didn't, the risk reward was, to me, was, it's not my money, it's your money. So I was really trying to trade the way that you trade. So meaning, like you said, 1.5% is kind of what you're managing. And so, I wanted to see if we couldn't make at least 0.5% to 1%. I kind of felt like, getting you down 2.5% would be kind of difficult to do in this market condition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I was very aware of that when we started. We did improve the situation, so I'm very happy with what we've done. Plus all the good teaching and advices that you gave.
Yeah. So sometimes when you take a big loss, in the market, you break that up into multiple trading sessions, right? And so maybe there's another opportunity to get another 0.5%, tonight, and then tomorrow morning go for a 1%. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And then kind of just break that up and don't try. I think a lot of times traders try to be like, oh, I got into such a big losing situation. Now I need to double my position sizes and take and put more and double down. And what that does is that turns it into a manageable loss, and then all of a sudden turns into a catastrophic loss, right? And so that was the key for me, is like, what is a manageable loss? You said, well, 1.5, right? You wouldn't have reached out if this was a manageable loss. You reached out because you're like, I got myself into a situation and I need to see how to get out of it, right? And so, but setting the right expectations from the very jump also helps to manage the psychology of the session. And so if we know we're not trying to get you profitable, we know we're just trying to improve the losing situation, that's really what you should be looking at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was a little bit of a learning curve for me too with interactive brokers. So we probably missed a little bit of opportunity there with me trying to understand exactly how that works. But I think I finally kind of got my head around it and understood it. So
it's a new string on your bow now.
Yes, exactly. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's kind of interesting. This is every platform is slightly different every way you trade, but it's all the same. We're still playing the same game, right? It's just where are the buttons and how do you push them, right?
Yeah.
So
Buying, selling.
what do you think? What's something that you kind of took from this?
All along, I was concerned with the triangle formation, and you were not.
Okay.
So this the sell here, because of the triangle and because I expected to break higher after, I would not have taken that sell. And but you did. So this is something I think that maybe I'm kind of expecting a little bit too much what could happen instead of just trading the system and going with the action points.
So trading the market that you got, not the market you want, right? There's a difference there.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So, I still, if I'm analyzing the market from a, pull back and look, trend is still up, right?
Mhm.
And I did have you pull off your buys here and start getting into sells, and it did run up. But I also knew that we were shouldn't say no, you never know in the market, but I felt that we were at the end of the price cycle and we should get a price cycle down, but I was hoping, probably should have put a little bit more on to pull that profit up. So my break even, I would have wanted that break even. So if I was trading this, I probably would have put another layer on here to pull that break even up to here. And then if it crosses that, you would have gotten profit. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because for me, once it crossed this line right here, I like to get my break even here as well, in case it doesn't cross this and decides to continue to go up. Then it gives me the opportunity to change directions a lot easier, right? To become a buyer, right? Because it failed this 50%, and I always look at that, because it failed to go to candle to the solid candle, I knew that the chances of it breaking lower were going to be higher, right? And so I would have gotten into at least another trade or two on the sell right here off of that for a breakdown. Now I wouldn't have anticipated it to break down and run all the way down into two things, but I would have anticipated, because it failed that 50%, the action says that it's going to cross this, and then I would have gotten out on a stall or somewhere in here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the thing I love about trading price action. That's the thing I love about looking at every single candle. Every single candle has information, right? Even this big wick right here, the information is that it tried to reach up, got smacked back down, right? And we're also getting lower highs, right? And until a body crosses this, you still are playing the lower highs, right?
Yeah.
And we're kind of in a channel over here on the 5 too. So that's what I was also looking at, is kind of this channel going up, down, kind of stuff like that. That's how I do it. I just look at price, right? Just change price. Like I said, I love looking at the information of every single candle. That's why I like trading the 1 and the 5, because it gives you activity. I hate sitting on my hands. And if I'm sitting on my hands on a 1 and a 5 trading time, I don't trade it. I just get out.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to sit and watch the market, right?
So you want move up a ladder in time and watch the 15 and the 5 minute?
Generally not, only because I like to be proactive in my trades. I'll look at it for direction, for confirmation, but I still get that if I widen out my 5 minute view. You widen out your 5 minute view, it shows you your 15, your 30, your hour. The only time I ever look at like the longer views is if I don't know where my next support and resistance lines are. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying, most people will look at that and it's good. But if you widen out your bars far enough, you're still getting on a 5-minute chart, you're still getting the hour view because I'm only going to be trading for an hour or two. Right. And so I don't really need to know what the daily chart's doing. I just need to know what it's been doing, what the market conditions are now, right? Not what they're going to be in 4 hours, but what are they now? And you trade for those market conditions. That makes sense?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad we were able to do a small dent. You'll have to let me know how it goes and when you and when you recover. Will you do that? Just hit me up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm gonna trade a Tokyo session
And see how it goes.
Yeah, and I'll let you know, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Robin.
Hey, thank you very much.
Talk to you later. Okay.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
see ya.